is absolutely stunning.
Unbelievable. You look at the names here. Burt Myers has 10 wins in this race, all-time leader in this race. Junior Miller, another stadium legend, 8. He's second all-time. Tim Brown has 4, searching for his 5th win in this race tonight. Billy Middleton's got 3 to be 4th all-time. Frank Fleming has 2 wins in this race, 5th all-time on this. And you look at that list of names. You walk around, anybody that's been around the Madhouse for a while, you don't even need to bother with the fact that they won this race. You just say Junior Miller, Tim Brown, Billy Middleton, Frank Fleming. They know, because that's the kind of greatness you're working with there.
You know, this atmosphere is something else, and I think we're going to throw a curveball here. You know, we're going to give you the starting lineup. I think we have time to do it. Let's go down to Randy Pulliam right now. He's down on the front stretch, and we're hearing this crowd behind us going nuts. He is pumping them up and talking about some of these drivers. Randy Pulliam is a guy that grew up here at Bowman Gray Stadium, sitting in the grandstands, and he's one of the great announcers in American motorsports. Let's go down to Randy right now.
Right now, I'm going to throw it upstairs to my announce partner, Chris Carter.
Race fans, and here to say the command to start their engine. It's Bruce Hayes' granddaughter and Zach Hayes' daughters, Peyton, Cassidy, and Addison.
Drivers, start your engines!
There's nothing like it, Madhouse. 600 horsepower cars ready to go at it for 200 laps.
The 600 horsepower chariots have awakened and rumble the earth here in Winston-Salem. The Hayes Jewelers 200 is next. Let's get you the starting lineup of these 25 warriors before they take the green. On the pole, one of the greats here at Bowman Gray Stadium. He set fast time in the Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners. #1 Peanut Patch Machine from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, a 91-time winner at Bowman Gray Stadium. It's the ace, Burt Myers. And to the outside, the defending champion of the NASCAR Brad's Golf Cars Modified Division in the 104. That's right, the Q104.1 car from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's short track veteran Brendan Ward.
Starting in 3rd position, the Wahlberg Grill and Pizzeria #75 machine out of Wahlberg, North Carolina. Lee Jeffries into his outside. Multiple-time track champion searching for win #99 this evening in the Hayes Jewelers #83. The Rocket out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina, Tim Brown.
Starting 5th tonight, from Freehold, New Jersey, now makes his home in the great state of North Carolina, a 17-time winner and former champion at Bowman Gray Stadium in the #57 North American Construction Machine. It's 3rd-generation superstar Danny Bone. To the outside, one of the great veterans of the wars here at Bowman Gray Stadium in the Guaranteed Auto Group, #16, a 17-time winner from Mount Airy, North Carolina. It's Chris Fleming.
Starting in 7th from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, #69, Superman John Holloman IV, and a part of the famed Myers family out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, starting 8th in the #4 machine, Jason Myers.
One of the most respected veterans starts on the inside of the next row, in position #9 is the white and orange #5, the Greg Butcher Trucking Machine, the #5 of Randy Butner. And to the outside of the Jerry Johnson Motors Machine, starting 10th today, the son of Chris Fleming. In the #13, it's Jordan Fleming.
Starting in 11th, it's the 7J out of King, North Carolina, part of the battle here at the end of last season, Junior So. And starting 12th, out of Manasquan, New Jersey, the #79 machine of Ryan Skip Flores.
Starting in lucky position #13 from Lexington, North Carolina, the black and orange, #51, it's Drew Moffitt. And to the outside in the Bryson Aerial Solutions, #6 from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, comes his 4th-generation driver. It's Slate Myers.
Starting in 15th, the #9. And then 2 to make it 92 machine, the black and white car out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, Kyle Southern. And the 81 machine starts in 16th out of Walkertown, North Carolina, Zach Clifton.
Starting 17th is the white #77 machine. She's a cancer survivor. and she has won the hearts of Bowman Gray Stadium people for years. In the number 77, it's the lovely Susan Harwell. Starting to the outside, rookie competitor in the breakfast time, number 07, Riley Neal. Let's give you the rest of the starting lineup. Lee Stimpson, in his last ever race, starts 19th. Gerald Robinson, Andy Notto, Brandon Butner, Bryant Robertson, William Crab Smith, and Corey Levette. Since 1949, we've held races here at Bowman Gray Stadium under the great brand of NASCAR. And tonight, these are the drivers that live by the grace of God. And 600 horsepower, the modifieds are green, and the Hayes Jewelers 200 is underway.
And Burt Myers did not waste any time. He jumped right off that initial start to get the lead ahead of Brandon Ward. Tim Brown will settle into third. Lee Jeffries and Chris Fleming in a good battle for that fourth spot. But the front three already single file, trying to make it happen early. Fleming gets around the outside of Lee Jeffries. He'll take the fourth spot. Jeffries back to fifth, and Danny Bone rides in the sixth position.
That was some close company right there, and a little hairy moment for the driver of the number 16, but out front comfortably right now is the number 1. There is Jordan Fleming on the outside, hung up. Here comes Junior Snow on the Wagner Appliances. Number 7J to the bottom, the pink bumper right there. He used it last year under caution flag, but I'll tell you what, he's moving through the field already. One of the faster cars in practice all week.
Took a little bit, I think, for Brandon Ward to get that car warmed up, but he started to respond to that jump that Burt Myers got off the initial start. That gap has closed back down to within maybe a nose or so, and then Tim Brown's got about a car length back to Brandon Ward, then Chris Fleming, then Lee Jeffries. The top 5, all familiar names here, and they know how to, I think, process this race and approach this race, because this is a different animal compared to everybody else, as Randy Butner pulls behind the wall to pit road early. Just saw that out of the corner of
Brandon
my eye.
Butner.
Brandon Butner, yes.
I'll tell you what, right now, there's a lot of fans still on their feet, but this is a 200-lap race at a quarter-mile oval. There will be a little bit of a lull here. It's not a sprint. This is a marathon. Okay, and this is the longest race of the season for the NASCAR Brad's Golf Carts Modifieds. So, folks, you're going to see some drivers, in particular, some of these drivers up front, not pushing the issue right away and using the bumper up and using their tires up.
And it's hard, I think, on some level to predict. You go back, and I watched last year's edition of this race, and we had a lot of yellows break it up, and you can't necessarily plan for that as a driver. So you have to find a balance between making sure that you hang on to track position, but you also have to save tires. You have to conserve your car. You have to make sure that you have something for those final 15, 20, 25 laps when you really need to go, and you can push if you want. But if you don't have anything left when you're fighting for the checkered flag, is there really any value in pushing to try to get to the front early anyway?
Tim Brown sitting comfortably in that third spot right now. The giants of the stadium are up front right now. Burt Myers has won this race before, of course. We talked about that earlier on 10 times, but he wants to win it again. I'm not going to say he's greedy. If you're a race car driver, when it comes to checker flags, if you're not greedy, you're not a race car driver.
And if you want a model of consistency, we saw what Sterling Clemens did in the Sportsman race a little bit earlier. Brandon Ward driving a very similar race with maybe even a little bit more pace. But again, how impressive it was last year for him to win the title in the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Division without winning a race. He pointed his way to a championship. That is tough to do here at Bowman Gray. To be able to accomplish that without any sort of victory whatsoever, you know he'd like to fix that here night 1 of 2024. But no doubt that that is a fast machine. That is someone that, barring the unexpected, we figure will be in the picture as this race begins to get toward the end. But very early in the going, still only 15 laps complete.
15 laps on the board for the Hayes Jewelers 200 right now. As we're about to catch some of the lap traffic here, the leaders are. Coming up on the backside of the number 99 of Crab Smith will be the first one to presumably go a lap down here at Bowman Gray, and then Bryant Robertson would be the next car that would. They're catching the backside of it around the north turn right now.
Lap traffic usually doesn't play that much of a factor now as we get a good look at John Holloman here, but we'll see whether or not that changes.
Holloman right there coming back to Bowman Gray. He wasn't sure if he was going to be at the opener, okay? And I talked to him the other day. He's moving to Tennessee with his wife and his new baby. And but he's not leaving Bowman Gray Stadium. He's going to come back and race the big ones. Because he said to me, you know what? I've never won one of the big extra distance races here at Bowman Gray, and that's something that I'm not going to quit on. I may leave the stadium full time, but I am going to come back to try to get these big races. You're also going to see in his 69 car Brian Lofton from time to time when John is in Tennessee. Brian will also pilot that machine as well.
That's a little bit of horsepower behind that car, isn't it? And names that we know that can get it done in modified racing between those two. Holloman, who worked his way up through divisions here at the stadium to earn a place in the modifieds, and I don't think we need to say that much about Brian Lofton as we now work lap 21 of 200.
We have a car spun in the infield grass in the south turn. It's the number 19 of Andy Notto. Notto, Meltdown Motorsports. You see it on the back of that machine. And Notto from Mexico, New York, coming here. He's a super modified racer for years up at Oswego Speedway. The Oswego has about like 5 nuclear power plants up there. It's pretty spectacular. But one of the best racetracks in the country. It's also on the FloRacing platform, so you can watch racing there, super modified racing. 47-year-old rookie is Andy Notto. And what's cool, okay, you see the Meltdown Motorsports on the back of that? Well, there's a reason it's that, because he's a radiation safety manager at the GE Nuclear Processing Facility in Wilmington. And he was retired from racing, Pike, and he moved to Wilmington, and he came here to spot for AJ Burness in the sportsman division and got the bug.
Not hard, I think, when you come here. But the thing that stands out to me about Andy Notto compared to everybody else in this field, we were walking through the pits yesterday evening, and there were a lot of people that were packing up. There were some people that had some misfortune with their engines, and they were trying to get their motors fixed and parts changed and swapped out. Andy just had a boombox speaker and a grill and was just flipping burgers and having the best time. And I think
he had his feet up on the tires of his modified,
but
just chilling.
Enjoying the experience of racing here at Bowman Gray, because it is so special. And there aren't too many times, especially when you come from all that way.
Yes.
It's tough, especially as a native New Yorker yourself. You know how tricky it can be to get down here. So I loved how he took in the experience last night. A shame that he's running into trouble so early, but I don't think he can say he didn't make the most of the opportunity, at least to just live it up.
Yeah, speaking of living it up, I'm watching you say that. I look to the right, and my boy Justin Mincy here, who's the stat king of Bowman Gray Stadium, is munching on some little donuts. You knew it was going to only take 2 races before old Dillner here mentions the old little donuts, one of the greatest concession foods in any track in America. Right here, we're eating some maple glazed ones, but the chews cone is out, so let's stop talking about donuts. Brandon Ward puts it to the outside right there, and hopefully he doesn't run into that maple syrup on the outside and slick it up there, and hopefully we have a great restart. Jason Myers also hopping to the outside. It's early on in this race, so not really the time to take the big risks.
So to the inside, it's Burt Myers, Tim Brown, Lee Jeffries, John Holloman IV, Randy Butner. To the outside, you've got some heavy hitters. Brandon Ward, Chris Fleming, Danny Bone, Jason Myers, and Junior Snow. All up in the top 10 as the modern Chevrolet pace car pulls into its hiding spot. We go back to green flag racing on lap 25 as Burt Myers does not get going, and it stacks up the inside line, and the caution flag comes out, and we will reset this field and try it again.
That's a little bit of cat and mouse right there, because the leader is supposed to take the green in the restart zone. This isn't a restart that's thrown by the flag man like the initial starts are. So that's a little gamesmanship right there. We restack them. Here we go. Both of the cars at the same time to the throttle. Yellow flag is out, though. Andy Southern's car is stopped on the backstretch, disabled his number 9 L&R transmissions machine, and now he gets it refired, and we're going to have to go back to a restart again 27 laps in to this main event. There is the number 9 of Andy Southern, Justin Link, helping him out. Kyle Southern, gosh, I got my Southerns mixed up. Kyle, slap me when you see me.
Just trying to get the field reset, and it's tough. They were trying to get that reset as quick as they could, and I saw there were a lot of cars catching up towards the back. So now we'll take the the proper breather here
Yep.
early. And I think, if anything, make note of this yellow here right around lap 25. First real yellow that we've had in this. And how many yellows do we have over the course of the race? And how does that break up the flow of this 200-lap feature event?
And that's our second yellow, right? I think I'll try to keep track of it. We're not going to keep track of the grass, like we said before, but we'll try to keep track of the yellow flags here tonight in the Hayes Jewelers 228 laps on the board. We gave you your Colby's restart lineup before, and you see the cars now getting by the north turn there, and you see that beautiful field house. That's where the scoreboard is here at Bowman Gray Stadium. That's turn number 3 and 4. If you've never been here, that's affectionately known as the north turn. And the south turn is 1 and 2. Matt Garrison has the car stopped here on the front straightaway. And he doesn't know either right there. That's great. Telling Burt Myers to go ahead, making sure the lineup is straight. I love this. This is old school, baby. The assistant starter is on the grid right now, making sure the cars are lined up correctly.
You, and then you, and then you, and then you, and it's not going to be any other way. Now, most of these guys...
You get a spot. Now,
right.
you get it. He's like Oprah out there.
Right. Most of these drivers up at the front were it was the back where they were trying to catch up quickly, so I figured that's where we're going to see a little bit more shuffling, and as I figured, a little bit more confirmation, but just taking their time to make sure that everybody's sorted. The pace car has come to a crawl on the back straightaway so we don't burn off any laps, while scoring and timing and our wonderful officials here at the Madhouse sort this field out.
I think they're going to stop Kyle Southern's machine. They had let him go, but he was the cause of that last caution. So they're going to stop now the 9 and let the other cars like Riley Neal, rookie competitor, go by, Gerald Robinson, all of them go by as well.
So we are almost ready to go back green flag racing at the Hayes Jewelers 200. They have just gotten Kyle Southern's car rolling, so he'll catch up to the back of the field, and we'll get set for more green flag racing from the Madhouse. Lights stay on the pace car, so we will have at least one more lap before we take the green and restart and go back racing.
There is the number 45 of Lee Stimpson. And in the driver's meeting today, he actually stood up in front of his fellow competitors and said, guys, I may not be a front runner out here, but I've been here for 30-something years.
39, I believe.
39 years, and said that tonight is my last race, the Hayes Jewelers 200. So big round of applause and kudos to a great veteran short track racer here at Bowman Gray Stadium. Congratulations on an awesome career, and we enjoy having you here at the Madhouse.
I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is we now get the one to go is that he just outright made the point to everybody. You know, I love racing here. I love this place. I love what it means.
And he thanked everybody for letting him race with him, which is a respectful thing.
He said, I'm going to try to not be in people's way, but I want to make sure I enjoy this last race and the experience of competing here one more time.
All right, we're getting green here. Pace car is off. Myers and Ward to the loud pedal. Myers gets the big jump. Ward files into the bottom now, side by side for the third position. It's Brown on the inside. Fleming to the outside. 2 by 2 behind him with Jeffries and Bone as well.
So Burt got another good jump off the restart, and then last green flag run, Brandon Ward was able to catch up to him pretty quickly. And it took a few laps for that car to come in, but he's able to close that gap. Tim Brown fighting for the third position just a little bit further back on the right-hand portion of your screen. Danny Bone is in the mix. Chris Fleming is in the mix. And Brandon Ward, just as he did on the last green flag run, beginning to creep back up to the rear bumper of Burt Myers, but it's all single file amongst the top 5.
Single file for much of the top 5, but further back in the field right now. You saw a peek of it right there. The number 4 of Jason Myers is caught to the outside.
Jason Myers beginning to work his way up towards the front of the field, battling Lee Jeffries. And then everybody else pretty much single file amongst all this as Brandon Ward continues to close in on that rear bumper of Burt Myers. There you see the gap between second and third. Maybe call it, what, 2-3 car lengths between Brandon Ward, the defending champion here at Bowman Gray, and Tim Brown.
Burt Myers setting the pace. It reminds me kind of like of Junior Miller. He's going to kill me for saying he reminds me of Junior Miller, but setting the pace. That's what Junior Miller would do so great at so many short tracks across the Southeast. He would go out there and get the lead early, and then he can almost play defense, and he can manage the gap behind him and set the pace.
Managing. I think that's a word, that's a concept that we're going to come back to a lot of times here. Just approaching lap 40 of 200 in the 49th edition of the Hayes Jewelers 200. So plenty to go, but that's plenty of time that you have to manage. And again, it's a balancing act in these long races. How hard do you push, but how much do you save? We'll hammer it home time and time again, because the best of the best find a way to strike that balance. That's why Burt Myers has 10 Hayes Jewelers 200s to his name.
40 laps on the board right now, and you look at Burt Myers right there, and then you look at the driver behind him, Brandon Ward, and then you look at the orange car behind him. The top 3 drivers here in total have 195 victories at the Madhouse. So you want to talk about the greats being up front right here, not only perennial championship favorites, but some incredible competitors as well. Now the number 57 of Danny Bowman has turned up the wick.
I was about to make the point that the top 4 in the field are all either defending or former track champions here at Bowman Gray. So the experience, especially on a night like this, I think really does mean something big.
Danny Bowman, the 57, a former winner of this event 2 years ago in that red and black machine that you see on your screen, the 57, right to the backside of Tim Brown. He goes through the south turn. New Jersey racer that moved here to North Carolina several years ago and has been a mainstay in the Southern Modified ranks. His grandfather was Parker Bowman, a great racer from New Jersey. His dad, Eddie Bowman, also a veteran of places like Wall Stadium and New Egypt Speedway in New Jersey. Danny Bowman comes down here, and everybody thought he would be just this aggressive Wall Stadium kid. But then he comes to Bowman Gray Stadium in one of the oldest chassis that ever competed here, and wins races and wins championships. That is a race car driver right there. Yellow flag is out.
Trouble for, I believe, Zach Clifton is the reason why we have the yellow flag out here. Call 811 before you dig. Yellow flag out for the 3rd time at the Madhouse.
Well, apparently the 81 made contact to the back of the 79, and he might have messed up his radiator. Let's keep an eye on that 81. There was some contact there. 81 of Zach Clifton goes to the behind the field house to the pit area right now. His father, Ronnie Clifton, one of the great race car drivers of all time here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and Zach Clifton, no slouch himself. And I'll tell you what, he's looked pretty good in that modified in practice. That car has some speed this year.
It's Zach Clifton, though, right? You know, this is someone who has been very successful at Bowman Gray Stadium. A guy who's got a ton of experience, so no shocker there, just not going his way tonight. But we will take a quick commercial break here from the Madhouse while we're under yellow, working our way towards the quarter point of the 49th Hayes Jewelers 200. More action to come from the Madhouse here on FloRacing.